The door creaked open just as I pulled my shirt over my head, my back to the entrance, sweat from the afternoon run still clinging to my skin. There, in the mirror's reflection, stood Mr. Thompson, David, his eyes wide, frozen in place like he'd stumbled into a scene he wasn't meant to see. But instead of turning away with an apology, he stepped inside, closed the door softly, and whispered, "Alex, I've been waiting for a moment like this to tell you the truth." My heart slammed against my ribs. Jordan's dad, the man who'd coached our little league team, grilled burgers at backyard barbecues, and lectured us on responsibility, was looking at me with an intensity that made my stomach twist. I grabbed my towel, wrapping it around myself, but the vulnerability lingered. What truth? Was this some kind of joke? Jordan was my best friend since kindergarten. We'd shared everything, from secrets to dreams of escaping our small-town Ohio life for college in Chicago. And now, his father was invading that sacred space. I backed up against the dresser, my mind racing. "Mr. Thompson, what are you talking about?" My voice came out shaky, not the confident tone I aimed for. He didn't move closer, but his gaze held mine, steady and unyielding. "Call me David, Alex. You've known me long enough. And I've known about you, about who you really are, for years." Known about me? The words hit like a punch. I'd hidden it so well, or so I thought. The late-night searches on my phone, the stolen glances at guys in the locker room. The ache I buried deep because in our conservative suburb, being gay wasn't just taboo. It was a ticket to isolation. David sighed, running a hand through his salt and pepper hair. "I see it in your eyes, the way you look at the world. The same way I used to hide it." Hide it? My thoughts spiraled. He was married to Mrs. Thompson for 25 years, had Jordan and his sister Emily. They were the picture-perfect family, the one I envied growing up with my single mom who worked double shifts. If David was implying what I thought, no, it couldn't be. But the way he said it, with that quiet resignation, made doubt creep in. "I married Linda because that's what you did back then," he continued, his voice low as if the walls had ears. "Good job, house kids. But inside, it's been a prison. And then you came along, always around, growing up with Jordan. Watching you, it reminded me of everything I gave up." Gave up? The room felt smaller, the air thicker. I should have yelled, told him to leave, but part of me, the lonely part that craved understanding, held back. Was this real? Or was I projecting my own desperation onto him? We stood there in silence, the clock ticking in the hallway like a countdown. Jordan was downstairs, probably scrolling on his phone, oblivious. If he walked in now, the thought made my chest tighten. Betraying him like this, even just by listening, felt wrong. But David's eyes pleaded for something I recognized. Acceptance. "I don't expect anything," he said finally. "But I couldn't keep it in anymore. Not after seeing you like this, vulnerable, real." Vulnerable. The word stung. I'd spent years building walls, pretending to like girls, joining the football team to fit in. And now those walls were cracking. I pulled on my shirt, kneading the barrier. "This can't happen. Jordan's my best friend. You're his dad." The words tasted bitter, a mix of fear and longing. David nodded, but his expression didn't change. "I know. That's why it's so hard. But think about it, Alex. In a world that tells us we're wrong, maybe we owe ourselves a chance." A chance? At what cost? My mind screamed warnings. Family fallout, social exile, but my heart, traitorous thing, whispered possibilities. That night, lying in my bed across town, I couldn't sleep. David's confession replayed like a broken record. What if he was right? What if hiding forever meant dying inside? But Jordan. God, Jordan. He'd been there through my mom's cancer scare, my coming out to myself in the mirror at 16. If he found out his dad felt this way, about me no less, it would destroy him. I tossed and turned, the conflict gnawing at me. Was I selfish for even considering it? Or was this the universe's cruel joke, dangling connection in front of me only to snatch it away with morality's chains? The next day at school, Jordan slapped my back like always. "Dude, you okay? You look like crap." I forced a laugh. "Just didn't sleep well." Inside, Guilt churned. David had opened a door I didn't know existed, and now I couldn't unsee what lay beyond. As we walked to class, I glanced at my phone. No messages from him. Good. Maybe it was a one-time slip. But deep down, I knew it wasn't. The seed was planted, and in the fertile soil of my isolation, it was already taking root. Weeks passed in a blur of avoidance. I made excuses not to go to Jordan's house, study groups, part-time job at the diner. But David found ways. A text here, a chance encounter at the grocery store. Just checking in, he'd say, but his eyes said more. Each interaction chipped at my resolve. Why me? I wondered in the quiet moments. Was it because I was safe, young, discreet, tied to his family? Or was there something genuine? The questions haunted me, pulling me between right and wrong. One evening, after a particularly grueling shift, I found myself driving aimlessly. My car ended up in front of their house. Jordan was at soccer practice. Linda at book club. David answered the door, surprise flickering before softening. Alex. That was all it took. I stepped inside, the door clicking shut behind me like a decision made. We talked for hours about his youth in the 80s, the AIDS crisis that scared him straight, literally. About my fears of never finding love in a town that voted red and preached traditional values. As the sun set, he reached out, his hand brushing mine. No more, no less. But in that touch, I felt seen for the first time. This is dangerous, I whispered. He nodded. I know. But so is living a lie. And just like that, the line blurred. What started as confession became conversation. Then connection. Stolen moments. A coffee run. A walk in the park. Nothing physical beyond glances, but the emotional pull was intoxicating. Each time, the guilt grew, a shadow over the light. Jordan noticed the change. You're distant, man. What's up? I lied, hating myself. Just stressed about college apps. But inside, the storm brewed. How long could this last before it exploded? David wrestled too. I saw it in his furrowed brow, the way he hesitated before saying goodbye. We're not hurting anyone yet, he'd say. Yet, the word hung like a guillotine. As summer approached, the tension mounted. Jordan planned a road trip for us, Chicago, freedom. But David wanted more time, more talks. I was torn, the internal battle raging. Choose friendship or forbidden feelings. The answer eluded me, but the price was already being paid in sleepless nights and fractured trust. The road trip loomed like a deadline, forcing choices I wasn't ready to make. Jordan buzzed with excitement, mapping routes on his laptop while we sat in his basement, posters of bands and soccer stars staring down. This is gonna be epic, Alex. Just you and me, no parents, no rules. His grin was infectious, but it only deepened my guilt. How could I look him in the eye, knowing I'd been sneaking around with his dad? The thought made my stomach churn, a constant reminder of the betrayal simmering beneath our friendship. David and I had escalated, nothing overt, but the conversations turned intimate. Late-night calls when Linda was asleep, sharing dreams we'd buried. I wish I'd met you sooner, he confessed once, his voice thick with regret. Sooner? Before marriage, before kids? The implications hit hard. Was I a midlife crisis fix? Or something real? Doubt crept in, mixing with the thrill. In those moments I felt alive, understood. But afterward, alone, the shame crashed down. What kind of person does this? Betrays his best friend for a forbidden connection? I tried pulling back. Ignored texts, made excuses. But David persisted, his persistence a mirror to my own desperation. One afternoon, he cornered me at the diner after my shift. We need to talk. His eyes, usually steady, held a storm. We drove to a quiet overlook. The city sprawl below us a reminder of the bigger world waiting. I can't stop thinking about you, he said, gripping the steering wheel. But this is tearing me apart. Linda suspects something. Not you, but that I'm distant. Linda, the woman who'd baked cookies for our sleepovers, cheered at our games. Picturing her hurt, twisted the knife. Then stop, I snapped, anger flaring at him, at myself. We're playing with fire. But even as I said it, my heart rebelled. Stopping meant returning to isolation, to pretending. David reached for my hand, and I let him. I don't want to hurt them, but denying this hurts me. Us. The word was a lifeline and a noose. In that car, overlooking the town that boxed us in, I confessed my fears. Rejection, loss, the societal scorn waiting if anyone knew. He listened, nodding. I've lived that fear for decades. That's why I stayed closeted. But you make me want to be brave. Brave or reckless? The internal war intensified. That night, Jordan confronted me. You've been weird, dude. Is it a girl? Or something else? His hesitation cut deep. Did he suspect? I denied it, but the lie tasted like ash. Friendship demanded honesty, yet here I was, weaving deceit. The pressure built, a dam ready to burst. As the weeks blurred, our secret meetings grew riskier. A hike in the woods, hands brushing as we walked. David's stories of suppressed youth fueled my resolve, but also my doubts. Was this love or escapism? The moral quandary gnawed. Right for us, wrong for everyone else. Society's voice echoed. Family first, norms unbreakable. But inside, my soul screamed for authenticity. One evening, after a tense dinner at their house, Linda's polite smiles masking tension, David slipped me a note. Meet me at the old mill midnight. I went heart pounding. There, under stars, he poured out his soul. I'm thinking of leaving her. For you. For me. Leaving? The words exploded in my mind. Divorce in our town meant scandal, judgment. Jordan would be devastated, Emily confused. You can't, I whispered, panic rising. But part of me thrilled at the possibility. Us free. The conflict peaked in my thoughts. Sacrifice family for personal truth? Or bury desires for peace? I left that night unresolved, the weight heavier. Jordan texted, "Can't wait for the trip." Guilt surged. How could I go, pretending normalcy? The betrayal festered, poisoning everything. Days later, at a party, alcohol loosened tongues. Jordan pulled me aside. My parents are fighting. Dad's been off. My pulse raced. Was this my fault? I mumbled sympathies, but inside, turmoil raged. David's confession had set this in motion. My complicity fueled it. The ethical dilemma sharpened. Was pursuing happiness immoral if it caused pain? As departure neared, I confronted David. This has to end. For Jordan's sake. Tears glistened in his eyes. I love you, Alex. That's the truth I've hidden too long. Love? The word shattered me. I fled, mind reeling. Love shouldn't feel like destruction. The night before the trip, insomnia gripped me. Staring at the ceiling, I dissected every choice. Hiding was safe but soul-crushing. Pursuing meant chaos. Which was worse? The answer eluded, but the emotional toll mounted. Each thought a deeper wound. Packing my bag, Jordan's enthusiasm clashed with my dread. This is our fresh start, he said. Fresh start? If only he knew the storm brewing. As we drove off, David's last look haunted me. A mix of longing and loss. The road ahead symbolized escape, but the chains of conscience dragged behind. The highway stretched endlessly, Chicago's skyline a distant promise. But inside the car, tension coiled like a spring. Jordan blasted music, singing off-key, oblivious to my silence. Every mile amplified the roar in my head. David's declaration of love, the potential fallout. I love you. Those words replayed, a sweet poison. How had we gotten here? From accidental glimpse to emotional entanglement. Each step a deliberate choice laced with denial. I gripped the wheel, knuckles white. What if I told Jordan? The thought terrified, his reaction the irreversible damage. But keeping silent felt like complicity in a larger lie. David's marriage, built on societal expectations, mirrored the facade I wore daily. Was breaking it freedom or selfishness? The moral ambiguity clawed at me. No clear right or wrong. Halfway through Indiana, Jordan turned down the volume. Spill it, Alex. You've been a ghost since we left. His concern pierced. Best friends since diapers, we'd shared everything. accept this. It's complicated, I muttered. Complicated? Understatement. Involving his dad crossed every line. Jordan pressed, girl trouble? Or guy? The question hung heavy. He'd always been supportive, joking about my lack of dates, but never pushed. Now his eyes searched mine. Not exactly. My voice cracked. Admitting would shatter us. But the burden grew unbearable. As fields blurred by, memories flooded. Sleepovers where David read us stories, his laugh warm and fatherly, now twisted into something intimate. Betrayals' sting deepened, against Jordan, Linda, even myself for allowing it. We stopped at a diner, neon lights flickering. Over burgers, Jordan shared his worries. Home's tense. Mom thinks Dad's having an affair. Affair? My fork froze. Was that what we were? No kisses, no touches beyond hands. But the emotional infidelity was real. Guilt surged, hot and unrelenting. That's rough, I said, avoiding his gaze. Inside, panic. If Linda suspected, exposure loomed. Back on the road, my mind spiraled into hypotheticals. What if David left? Jordan's family fractured. Blame on me. Society would label us deviants, older man, younger guy, the power imbalance fodder for gossip. In progressive Chicago, maybe acceptance. Back home, condemnation. The internal conflict raged. Desire versus duty. Happiness at whose expense? That night in a motel, Jordan asleep, I texted David, "We need to stop. For good." His reply came swift. "I can't. You're the first real thing in years." Real? Tears blurred my vision. Real meant pain, choices with consequences. I deleted the thread, but the ache remained. Chicago welcomed us with bustling streets, freedom's illusion. We explored, Jordan's excitement contagious, but mine forced. At Navy Pier, watching couples, envy bit. Could that be us, David and me, unfettered? But reality intruded. Calls from home. Linda checking in, voice strained. Jordan brushed it off, but I saw the worry. One evening, alone in our Airbnb, I broke. Staring at the city lights, the isolation crushed. Why pursue this? For connection in a lonely world? Or ego? The psychological toll mounted, sleeplessness, anxiety. David's words echoed. Denying this hurts us, but pursuing hurt others. The ethical seesaw tipped endlessly. Jordan noticed. Talk to me, man. Pressure built, tears threatening. It's your dad, I whispered. His face paled. What? The confession spilled, the encounter, conversations, feelings. Not details, but enough. Jordan's shock turned to anger. My dad? You're joking. But my tears confirmed. He paced, fists clenched. How long? Why him? Explanations tumbled. Loneliness, understanding. But Jordan's hurt cut deepest. You're my brother, Alex. And him? He's supposed to be the rock. Betrayals' wave crashed. He stormed out, leaving me in ruins. Alone, regret consumed. Had I destroyed everything for a fleeting connection? Hours later, he returned, eyes red. I don't get it, but I know you're gay. I suspected. But with Dad. The conversation stretched, raw and painful. He confessed family secrets. Parents' arguments, David's distance. Maybe he's gay too. The realization dawned, shifting blame. But anger lingered. You should have told me sooner. The trip soured, trust fractured. We cut it short, driving home in silence. The emotional intensity peaked, each mile a reminder of choices' costs. Back in Ohio, confrontation awaited. David met us at the door, his face ashen. Jordan brushed past. I lingered. He knows, I said. David's world crumbled in his eyes. That night, family meeting ensued. Tears, accusations. Linda's shock. How could you? David's confession. Closeted life, love for Alex. The room exploded. Jordan's pain raw. You chose him over us? My role as catalyst stung. Apologies flowed, but damage done. In bed, reflection tormented. Was coming clean right, despite pain? Or should secrets stay buried? The awakening bitter, truth liberates, but scars. The fallout hit like a hurricane, ripping through the Thompson household and dragging me into the vortex. Linda's sobs echoed from the living room as I sat in the kitchen, head in hands, the weight of my decisions crushing. "How long have you felt this way?" she demanded of David, her voice breaking. 25 years of marriage unraveling in minutes. Jordan paced upstairs, slamming doors, his betrayal a palpable force. And me, the outsider who'd become the epicenter, questioning every step that led here. David's eyes met mine across the chaos, pleading for understanding. But what understanding? I'd ignited this by not walking away that first day. Internal torment raged. Was my need for connection worth this destruction? Society's judgment loomed, whispers at church, stares in stores. In conservative Ohio, this wasn't just personal. It was public scandal. The next days blurred in confrontation. Jordan cornered me in the garage. "Why, Dad? Of all people?" His hurt morphed into rage. "You knew it would kill me." I had no defense, only apologies. I was lost, Jordan. He saw me. Saw me? Even to my ears, it sounded selfish. Friendship's foundation cracked. Years of loyalty eroded by secrecy. He walked away, leaving me in silence's void. Linda filed for separation, the news spreading like wildfire. Calls from relatives, judgmental texts. How could David do this? But beneath, the homophobia simmered. It's unnatural. The societal pressure intensified my guilt. Was our connection deviant, as they implied? Or human? The moral quagmire deepened. Love doesn't discriminate, but context does. David moved to a motel, our meetings clandestine again, but tainted. "I regret the pain, not us," he said over coffee in a dingy diner. The word now carried baggage. His eyes, once hopeful, held despair. "I've lost my family." Lost? Because of me? The emotional burden suffocated. Nights alone. I dissected. Pursue happiness or atone by retreating? Community backlash mounted. At work, co-workers whispered. Heard about Thompson? Midlife crisis with a kid. Kid? I was 20, but the label stung, implying predation. David's reputation tarnished. Respected engineer, now pariah. The power dynamic haunted. Mentor figure turned lover. Was it equal? Doubt festered, amplifying inner conflict. Jordan's silence stretched weeks, a chasm where brotherhood once thrived. One night he showed, "I hate you both." Tears followed anger. "But I get it, kinda. Dad's been unhappy forever." Forgiveness? Not yet, but understanding's seed. Still, the damage lingered. Emily, confused, asked, "Why can't Dad love Mom?" Explaining broke me further. As divorce proceedings began, David's resolve wavered. Maybe I should fight for the family. Fight? Abandon us? Panic gripped. But logic whispered, right choice. The sacrificial pull tore. "Do what you must," I said, heart shattering. Inside, abandonment fears resurfaced. From my absent dad, now echoed. Therapy sessions followed, mandated by pain. The counselor probed, "What do you want, Alex?" Want? Authenticity without cost. But reality demanded trade-offs. David's sessions revealed suppressed trauma, youthful rejections, forced conformity. Our bond, born of shared pain, now tested by it. A climactic family therapy. Accusations flew. Linda's bitterness. "You stole my husband." Jordan's plea. "Fix this." David's truth. "I can't pretend anymore." My voice, small. "I'm sorry." Emotions peaked. Tears, hugs, unresolved. Awakening dawned. Truth hurts, but lies destroy slower. Months passed, scars forming. David chose divorce, moving to Chicago. "Come with me," he urged. Temptation warred with loyalty. Jordan, thawing. "If it makes you happy." But happiness? Shadowed by guilt. The decision loomed. Internal storm raging fiercer. Leave, start anew? Or stay, rebuild? The price. Friendship mended or love pursued. No win without loss. In quiet moments, reflection deepened. Society's chains, expectations, norms, chafed. Breaking them liberated but isolated. Was the fight worth it? The emotional intensity crested, each thought a deeper laceration. Finally, at the airport, bags packed, Jordan hugged me. "Don't forget us." The word twisted. Boarding the plane, doubt assailed. Right path? Or escape from consequences? Chicago's skyline greeted me like a new chapter, but the ghosts of Ohio clung tight. David waited at the gate, his embrace warm yet tentative, shadowed by the wreckage we'd left. "We made it," he whispered. "Made it? At what cost?" Jordan's farewell hug replayed, a mix of forgiveness and lingering hurt. Linda's cold nod, Emily's confused wave. The family I'd inadvertently dismantled weighed on my soul, each step forward a reminder of the backward pull. Our apartment overlooked the lake, a fresh start's facade, but inside, doubts festered. Mornings brought joy, coffee shared, stories exchanged, but evenings ushered regret. "Do you miss them?" I asked David one night, stars reflecting on water. His sigh heavy, "Every day." The admission pierced. His sacrifice, home, kids, for this. For me, the imbalance gnawed. Younger, less to lose, yet I dragged him into upheaval. Social integration proved brutal. Friends questioned the age gap. "How'd you meet?" Lies flowed, mutual friends. But truth's absence eroded authenticity. Gay community events offered solace, but judgment lurked. Daddy issues? The labels stung, amplifying internal shame. Was our love valid, or tainted by origins? Jordan visited months later, tension thick. "It's weird seeing you two together." His discomfort mirrored mine. Over dinner, emotions erupted. "You broke us, Dad." David's tears. "I broke myself first." Jordan's anger softened to sorrow. "I want you happy, but it hurts." The reconciliation tentative, but the scar permanent. My role as catalyst haunted. Had I pushed too far? As time wore, the relationship strained under pressure. David's guilt manifested in distance, mine in anxiety. "Maybe this was a mistake," he confessed during a fight. Mistake? The word eviscerated. Fights escalated about past, future, ethics. "We hurt people," I yelled. "For what?" His retort, "For truth." But truth's price mounted. Isolation from roots, societal side eyes. Therapy continued, unearthing deeper wounds. My abandonment issues clashed with David's midlife regrets. "I gave up everything," he said. Everything? Resentment brewed. Was I worth it? The psychological depth revealed. Love born in secrecy often wilts in light. A turning point. Jordan's wedding invitation. Back to Ohio. The trip dredged memories. Old house. Familiar streets. At the rehearsal, Linda's polite distance stung. Emily's hug warm but questioning. David and I side by side. Face stares. Whispers. "That's the guy." The confrontation with past choices visceral. The ceremony, beautiful yet bittersweet. Jordan's vows echoed our struggles. Commitment despite odds. Afterward, he pulled us aside. "I'm glad you're here. Both. Forgiveness is balm, but not erasure." That night, David and I really talked. "We can't undo the pain," he said, "but we can honor it by being better." Yet, doubts persisted. Back in Chicago, the city felt confining. Internal conflict climaxed. Stay in this love, forged in fire, or seek independence? The emotional crescendo overwhelmed. Love's joy versus guilt's shadow. One dawn, watching the sun rise, clarity struck. "I need space," I told David. His nod, pained but understanding. "I get it. Separation, not end. Time to heal individually." Months alone, reflection intensified. The journey, from hidden glances to public truths, taught harsh lessons. Authenticity demands sacrifice. Love, context. Society evolves, but personal costs endure. Now, looking back, the debates rage within. Was pursuing that forbidden connection ultimately right, despite the devastation it caused to those we loved?